to another episode of Inside Eastern Utah. I am Scotty Draper, and we are here today with Nick Tatton. Nick works for Price City, and he's going to give us the lowdown about what's going on this time of year. Just kind of wrapping up 2017 and getting ready for a new year, huh?
Yeah, there's some quite exciting things taking place within Price City. As you know, and as the community knows, we have one of the biggest changes in our elected officials that we've had for quite some time. Need to do a little shout to Mayor Piccolo. He's been mayor for 4 terms, 16 years, and represented the city well. And he's going to be replaced by Mike Corianis. Yes. So we'll have a new mayor. And as you know, also that Wayne Clausing was on our city council.
Yes.
He left a couple months ago and was replaced by Leif Nelson. And also Kathy Hannah Smith didn't run again, and she's going to be replaced by Amy Jesperson. And so we're going to have quite a new face on the city elected officials, and we don't think that'll change a lot of things that are taking place. But it might change a little bit of the policy and the direction, and we're kind of excited to see what the future holds in that regard.
Yes, and Terry Willis retained her seat as well.
Right,
She ran again this year. And so fresh faces, but it's still going to be business as usual. Everything's going to keep on keeping on at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. The city's not really growing a lot. There's some little bits here and there. So overall, the city budgets, the workload and things are kind of the same as they were a year ago. There's not a lot of, there's not a big area of discretionary work that can be done in the budgets. A lot of things are debt service, payroll, staffing, and costs. So, you look at different projects and what's the best time to complete some of those, and what types of projects they are, water, sewer. We have a couple new projects coming up that'll go through some hearing process right after the first year. One is a partnership with the Carbon School District to renovate the baseball and softball fields.
Great.
And another one is to do some ADA access for the basement in the library. So we're kind of looking forward to those, potentially grant funding, and hopefully those are good improvements in the community as well.
Yes, and those have been in the works for a while. It's taken some effort, but you guys are finally gung-ho and getting ready to go with them.
A little bit of work along the way, and now we should see the application process start.
Great. And you mentioned budget, and I know that's a big topic this time of year. Every time you're going into the new year, people are curious about how our area is looking financially, economically. What can you say for the city? What is it looking like financially?
Yeah, the city, as opposed to some of the comments that have been out in the county with the county government, the city budget's pretty flat, kind of like the growth in the city, not a lot of change. But so there's not a lot of increased revenues, but there's not a lot of increased expenses either. The city works really hard to manage those budgets and to operate within them, and really try to get the most bang for the buck we can out of things. So in that regard, I'd say things are stable and operating about as good as we can make them.
Yes, and I know people obviously worry that there's a sharp decline, kind of a little bit of doom and gloom going on, but obviously we would love to see some growth, but being steady is at this point
it's sometimes the nature of our economy with natural resources, it's a tough environment right now, and it's difficult for a lot of the businesses to make their place in that economy. And hopefully they can keep fighting and keep it working. There's been some great things happen in our community recently. We've had the new Castleview urgent care clinic come online. The Gagans have done some great job in the 2-county area with their health care. The new Ford dealership is a nice new shining star at the intersection over there. And we've got a few more things in the works, and we try to think that investment in the community at any level is good. We work really hard to encourage people to do kitchen remodels all the way up to, I know, Emory Telecom with the fiber project. That investment in the community will sustain us for a long time, and so we're pretty proud of those. And one thing that might be of interest is there's a lot of conversation around the JCPenney building and the group that's working on that. It looks like they're getting a little bit over the hump and starting to bring that project online. And they'll be making a presentation to our Planning Commission next week. So anybody that would like, it's a public meeting, and come learn with us what their plans are.
Yes, and that's very exciting. Like you mentioned, some of these are bigger companies, bigger corporations. For example, Ford. It's really encouraging that a big company like that sees the value of our town, sees the value of our community, and reinvests back into it.
Yeah, and that, I think that's the nature of some of our business leaders here. Gus with the Ford dealership, our friend Tony with his business interests, Emery Telecom, some of the bigger businesses, Sutherland's, these reinvestments back into these facilities and employees in this area, they do pay dividends, and we've really got to appreciate what we have and keep working to make it a little bigger and better.
Yes, and so we talk bigger corporations. What about the small business? With this past year, what has Price City seen in terms of small businesses applying for licenses? Is it growing? Is it staying kind of steady
It's
in past years?
It's about the same. Every year, Price City does in the neighborhood of around 650 business licenses, and that's been fairly consistent for about the last 10 years or so. So there's always a few that go away and a few new that come on, and we try to help them as best we can to find the completion of permitting and licensing, as well as other resources in the community, whether it's the Small Business Development Center or the programs at the Association of Governments, to help them be successful in their business, because that is important. Not just the big businesses that have more employees, but sometimes small businesses that people are self-employed or only have one or two part-time employees. They make a big difference in our community.
Yes, that is certainly true, and we speak a lot about business, but can you tell us maybe some on the other side of things, what people can start to see in Price City? You mentioned the softball fields. What kind of other improvements is the city looking at in terms of what people use every day?
There's some exciting things, I guess, for us at a city level.
Yes.
But a lot of water and sewer projects to maintain that infrastructure and keep it operating well. We joke a little bit in the office that nobody really appreciates sewer till it quits working.
Exactly.
And there's quite a bit of stormwater work taking place in the community relative to the floods we had about a year ago. And some of those projects are ongoing, long permitting processes and things to make those happen. Try to prevent problems that way as they come up. So a lot of infrastructure related work taking place in the city, and it should hopefully serve the city for many, many years.
Yes, and they've been working for months on that water and sewer. They take sections at a time, and they've been in North Price quite a bit doing that. Can you tell us when those improvements can be anticipated to be done, or is it going to be ongoing, just working throughout the city?
Different sections of those projects will be wrapped up right away. Some of the timing on with the cold weather may take into the spring to finish some of the street restoration and asphalt work, but a lot of those projects now and through the early spring should be completed.
That sounds fantastic. And we mentioned the library earlier, and I think a lot of exciting things have been happening at the library lately. They have that new kids area down in the basement. Can you talk a bit about what role the library plays in this day and age? I mean, it's not just books, there's technology, there's events. It's really expanded to fit the need of the community.
Yeah, I think the traditional thought when people think of a library are shelves full of books and the catalog systems to find the books. But it's really evolved, and I think they've done a good job. They have a lot of reading programs. They do some great summer programs when the kids are out of school. They do after-school programs this time of year, and really focus a lot on literacy and helping the community that way. The kids area you mentioned, and we're working on that ADA access to even bring more of that service to the community
Make
now.
it more accessible.
And if you haven't visited your Price Library, now would be a good time. You got a little time over the holidays. Pick up a few good books and take advantage of some of the other things they have, and enjoy the holidays.
Yes, it's looking great in there. They're just constantly looking for ways to improve and constantly moving new product and everything. So every time you go in, there's something a little different.
Right.
Now, you're very involved, obviously, in Price City. You got past Greek Festival that you're involved in, Oktoberfest. I mean, the list goes on and on. Now we're getting close to the holidays and the new year. What type of events are the city or you working on for the upcoming year?
Well, one that I'm involved with is Angel Tree with United Way, and there's quite a need in our community. Again, just like some of the revenue things, the need stays pretty high every year, and so if you find it in your heart to adopt some angels and help out, you can pick those up at the United Way office. Eastern Utah Community Credit Union does a big program to help distribute those and help make Christmas nice for some kids in the area. Another one that's kind of fun is next week at the City Council meeting, the City Council will approve an airspace permit for Santa Claus.
Oh yes,
so
Santa
Claus, so Santa Claus will be allowed to fly through Price City airspace and get all the toys and goodies delivered to the kids.
Oh, good. It's coming quick. I mean, every year I think I'm going to be so prepared this year, and then it sneaks up on me every time.
Yeah, it's kind of tough this year. It's been such nice weather. It doesn't feel too Christmassy.
I know. I feel like it's still September or something, but now it's coming for us. So apart from that, next year, what can people look to expect from Price City? We're going to have Culture Connection next year as well. That's been, I think, very well attended throughout the years.
Oh, yeah. Culture Connection has really grown over the years. I think the community appreciates entertainment and activities more and more every year. And so I think we've overused the term business as usual, but you'll see a lot of good infrastructure projects for the city, International Days, Culture Connection, and I think there's some involvement with the sports and the ball fields and stuff that'll enhance the ability for some of the outdoor activities in the area, and we look forward to being a big part of not just quality of life, but quantity of life in our area.
And I think one of the great things, you might have these events every year, but each year they're a little bit different with new elected officials and new ideas and new people on committees. It really brings a fresh perspective every year so that every year something a little bit different happens.
Right, you're exactly right. And I think if you have some ideas, let us know, phone them in, tell us what some ideas are, and you know, if it makes sense and we can get it organized in there. A friend of mine's always said, we stand best when we stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. And I think there's some a good base in the community, within the city as a company, and within the city as a community to grow and expand.
Yes. Well, I certainly appreciate you joining us and taking some time to explain what's happening in Price City. Obviously, some changes coming with the new year. We're going to have some new elected officials. They start beginning of January.
Yeah, swearing-in ceremony noon on January 2nd, so that'll be at City Hall. The more community we have out to see that little activity, that'd be nice.
Yes, everyone is welcome. It's open to the public, and of course, all of these public meetings you spoke about, everyone is welcome to those as well.
Be involved in your local government and help out and be a part of the community.
Yes, we certainly appreciate your time, Nick, and taking this time to explain what's going on in the city.
Thank you for having me. I love being here.
Yes, well, we'll probably have you back because, like I said, you are so involved in so many different things. So we will be back in just a few minutes with Inside Eastern Utah. We are going to be speaking with Kyle, who is new over at Sutherland's. He took over for Wayne, who Nick mentioned earlier. So stick around for a few minutes. We'll be back on Inside Eastern Utah.